you bring the towel?
Was it drip tray?
Nice.
The splash zone.
Yeah! We don't have a drip tray or a towel.
Do we have a distribution crew or what? You know what? Oh, shit.
Well, that was a fuck up.
Or second.
Hey, I'll take my chance.
Yeah.
Everybody hear me okay? Oh, wow. Holy crap. That's loud. All right. Sweet. Sweet. I guess this is everybody. We're going to kick this. We're going to light the fires, kick the tires. How you guys doing today? Sweet. You're about to see some SCADA beer. None of this has ever been done before, so I'm going to caveat with things could go badly. I knew that. I was just seeing if you guys are going to catch that. Yeah. How about this? Yeah, that works too. I didn't know what kind of cable I had in there. Awesome. All right. Let's start the sucker. Sweet. Thank you for coming out today. This is a project my team has been working on since about February of this year. And I'm going to go real quick through what we do at Talos, because it may be a name you're not familiar with. And then we're going to launch right into our cool project and this thing that we did. It checks off a lot of cool boxes that we've done for challenges, for learning process control networks through SCADA networks, through just having a good time, drinking a lot of beer, aka testing, and being able to educate others, and being able to test like our own stuff that we do. So quick, who's Talos? Who we are, what we are. We're the threat intelligence arm of Cisco. So if you have Snort, ClamAV, if you're a Cisco security customer, or you sit in a SOC or a NOC and you work with any of that fun stuff, odds are you're using our intelligence to stop the bad guys from doing bad stuff. We drill down into detection and response group. So basically what we do is we look for the bad guys, craft Snort rules and intelligence, and then we program that into our formerly SourceFire, now Cisco IPS and next-gen firewalls, next-gen IPS stuff. And of course, my team is a SCADA team, so we do all industrial control system research with Mr. Patrick DeSantis sitting in front of me right here. Raise your hand, Patrick. And Mr. Carlos Pacho sitting over there. And moonlighting for us is Chris McBee, wherever he happens to be, in the back, hiding from everybody as usual. So we look at all kinds of cool stuff. Anything SCADA, anything ICS. SCADA is a type of ICS, by the way. But if you name it, we've looked at it. And of course, we take all the cool stuff, roll it into a cool threat intel thing, pump it back into the product. Hakuna Matata, the cycle repeats. All right, that's enough of the Talos stuff. What is an industrial control system network? If you were to look at it, you tend to look at things through the lens of your experiences from information technology, right? So you can probably, off the top of your head, name all the products that go in a typical IT network: firewalls, routers, switches, workstations, servers, business processes, servers, SAP, ERP. And you just go down the list and you can find all kinds of stuff. ICS network's not too dissimilar, actually. It's about 95% overlap. That 5% is a wildly different 5% usually. And what we tried to do with this project was to simulate that 5%. And I think we hit pretty close to the mark. All right. What you see here is called the Purdue model. And I know it's very difficult to see in the back. I apologize. I stole this from ICS CERT. And this basically describes how you would see a typical ICS network if it was architected in the ideal pie in the sky way. All right. So you would have an external zone where you would have wireless connectivity. Utilities are very common to that because they use a lot of remote stuff. Corporate zone, which is like all your business, HR, IT, normal stuff. And then you would segment away to your manufacturing zone and what's often called the cell zone. The cell zone is kind of where your rubber meets the road for industrial control systems. That's where you see a lot of your real, air quotes, SCADA stuff, right? So, and then you have what's called a SIS, safety instrumented zone. That's, if pressure equals X on a, oil refinery, gas system, and it could cause a loss of life or human injury, immediately vent. So that's kind of your, oh crap, things have gone bad zone. Use a lot of the same equipment, honestly, but very, very, very serious. And it can have regulatory implications behind it as well. So again, this is your typical ICS architecture, or it should be your typical ICS architecture. All right. Before we go too far, if you brought something to hack our SCADA system with, and is the AP on? Our AP is on. Our system is totally hackable, all right, and hackable in the sense that you can connect to it wirelessly, and if you are a bad enough dude or dudette, pour yourself a beer from our kegerator. All right. And I want to give this to you up front because some of you are probably throwing up Nmap right now wondering how you can possibly do this. We want you to do this. We brought it here specifically for you to do this. So the ESID is Advanced Persistent Thirst. Right. Yeah, I know. Clever. Password is free capital B, beer, free beer, bang. And if you're going to Nmap scan, if you have any kind of modern updated Nmap, you'll immediately see the 192.168.42.0/16 network. Good luck. Have fun. Anyways, how did this come to be? It's a great question. One day my boss says to me, Joe, we need a stun hack. And stun hack is a very careful thing to say because people stun hack to draw attention to security issues in the industry or sometimes brand promotion. It could be any number of things. Stun hack is a dangerous thing. In this particular case, my boss said to me, we want a stun hack because Talos wants to plant its flag that, oh, by the way, we do ICS as well. And I said, great idea, boss. And he goes, well, what should I do? And he goes, well, something ICS. And I said, well, that's an awfully wide area to go through. And I said aloud, randomly, well, what if we put a PLC on the side of a kegerator? And at that point, I had committed myself to something that had never been done before. Because if there's two things we do at Talos, we hack and we drink. And this became basically the ultimate project to combine both of those mutual interests, hacking and fine libations for what we do. So it's a stun hack, but the most glorious kind of stun hacks because you get to drink beer from it as well. All right. So basically, we took programmable logic controller, married it to our kegerator mini fridge. Anyone could go buy one on Amazon, right? And then through typical process creation, was able to basically make a process around the act of pouring a beer using all industrial control equipment. So here's a good example of how something like that would look if we were to draw it out for you. Again, it is very hard to see in the back. I do apologize for that. All right. And when we started down this path, we had no idea how we were going to do this because none of this has been done before, right? If anyone knows off the top of hand where an industrial control system kegerator exists, please come find me after this. I want to shake that guy's hand or at least go look him up on the internet. Oh, the mightiest Googling known to man revealed exactly nothing. So basically, we found ourselves in a unique position of we need to make an industrial control system that can pour beer. And we achieved it earlier March of this year. We basically took two solenoids, inserted them in front of the beer valves, created a really sweet HMI. Here's an example of that HMI. I swear to God, it exists. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. And you can see from here, we had basically two solenoids interrupting the beer lines, and you'd have to go push a button on our panel view 800 human machine interface. It's an Allen Bradley Cooper, and it would open the line. Beer would come out through the line as you poured the tap handle, and we went, sweet, we have skated beer, and all was well with the world. The problem was that when you insert a solenoid into a beer line, it tends to foam the beer, and also it wasn't pouring the beer for us. And I think we realized at that point we weren't going to be happy if we could just if we have to reach our skinny, weak nerd hands and pour beer ourselves. We want the almighty power of industrial control systems to do it for us. So we figured out we could pour beer. It was pretty sweet. And we said, you know what? We're going to take this back to the drawing board. So with a lot of engineering by my senior guy, Patrick DeSantis right here, a lot of careful engineering, and again, a lot of testing of beer, a lot of testing of taps, and figuring out how this is going to work. We were able to ascertain what we wanted to do, but we had to go purchase the equipment, assemble it. What you see here are two 68-ounce, I believe, push solenoids inside of a tap tower. We 3D printed this tap tower. It does not exist anywhere else. We're able to design it in AutoCAD. Here's a good mock-up of that. We didn't really know if this was going to work, so we were like, let's try it. So we have two 68-ounce push solenoids that connect to a ball joint that actuate forward when the PLC tells them to actuate forward. All right. The problem with that is how do you retract a beer tap handle that only typically goes in one direction? Glory be, they make self-retracting beer tap handles. Highly recommend them. They saved our bacon. We had to even cut the springs from them because they pushed back too hard that the solenoids couldn't push forward. So that was a problem. But it turns out Talos, and its hacker haven that it is, has many diverse skills, including one gentleman who was a skilled AutoCAD guy. I don't know why or how. All I know is I'm thankful that we hired him and he works for us, was able to design for us an awesome tower in CAD, except we can't make this out of metal. What do we do? Well, it turns out if someone has a 10 by 10 by 16 tall 3D printer, which by the way, they're extremely expensive. Good luck with that. We basically found a third party to print our beer tap tower for us. And we're like, awesome. This is looking really great. And so here's an example of what that would look like in 3D rendering. We actually did 3 separate parts. So we did a tap tower, a removable faceplate, which isn't that removable, and a tap tower, a base tower, assembled together, bolted together, plexiglass windows on top of it, and of course we got to bling it out, put lots of sweet lights on it, right? And that's what it looks like assembled. All right, I'm flying and I'm talking fast because I want to give you guys an opportunity to connect to it and try to pour yourself a beer, all right? So, and now the game, all right? This is not a traditional CTF. There are no hints. There are no slow softballs to be lobbed at you, and then you crack it with a bat, and then you move on to the next challenge. This is a pass-fail thing. We don't need no stinking flags. We do not do that, all right? So you're going to figure it out or you are not. But you might be able to bug us or bribe us to come give you some hints as to how to pour this beer. And I assure you that it is completely, totally, 100% wirelessly capable of pouring you a beer if you can figure that part out, all right? So we're getting to that in just a minute. That's like 2 slides from now, man. You got to slow down, bro. All right. So remember the ICS architecture thing we went over, right? Here's the part that we have effectively simulated, right? This is called a cell network. Again, cell networks typically exist in ICS architecture where intelligent electronic devices, PLCs, your more hardened industrial equipment sits like on a factory floor or in a utility. It could sit in any number of places that you would see. And here's the problem with ICS networks. As I show you this, like this could be a soft drink bottling factory, but probably not a utility or probably not an oil refinery. And that's really the problem with ICS in general. I can hand any one of you the exact same equipment that we use, and depending on what vertical you belong to, you could architect it in completely different ways. And you know, if an IT guy comes in, he probably knows how email works, or he probably knows how Active Directory works, or he probably knows how DNS works. Not necessarily the same with ICS. And that unique snowflake syndrome is probably the reason that it can be very difficult to secure that stuff, because the process is sacrosanct and you can't interrupt that process. And of course, security gets into that, you know. So we don't want to get too complicated into that, but we absolutely want to talk to you about it later. We're here to talk about beer. So let's pour some beer real quick. You need the right hand. Right hand.
Carlos is connected wirelessly to the control box on the side here, and he is not using anything other than Python to talk to the programmable launch controller for that beer.
Alternately, you could just go up there and touch a button. Yeah. Touch a button. Up. Touch the right button helps. And do it yourself. Yeah? 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 All right. I'll drink this while you're thinking off that. All right. So, before we go too far and before everyone starts throwing rotten fruit at me, I'm going to issue you this caveat. Beer is complicated. I never thought I'd be learning about this as I did my job. Kegs are tapped at a certain PSI. All right. A certain PSI works very delicately in conjunction with our solenoids and our beer taps to distribute beer and issue beer based upon what's pushing and pulling against it at the exact same time. It does not work perfectly all the time because of chemistry. And that's just the hard, cold reality of, wow, we really tried to do this and we got really, really far, but some things you just can't control. All right. So what's cool about this is you saw it turn green when we poured the beer, right? So that's design. Let me show you what happens when it locks up. You screw up, it turns red. Don't turn to red. Don't be that guy or girl. All right?
Go ahead, turn it red.
Or turn to red. You know, we when we started down this path, we had no idea what was going to kick over our ICS equipment. Who here has actually done a pen test on an ICS environment before? This guy's done it. How do you break something ICS or kick it over? Just in-map scan it, right? It's extremely fragile stuff. Huh? How do you not break it? You don't pen test it. Yeah, pretty much, unfortunately. If you run vulnerability scanners in an ICS, so if you have Nessus, iRetina, whatever you happen to use for your vulnerability systems, they will completely stop a process. ICS is extremely fragile. Now we have, through our system, we actually have a Cisco firewall because we work for Cisco. How about that? We have a Cisco industrial firewall down in there. It's actually got Rockwell on it because we OEM to Rockwell. We have VLAN set up that theoretically should stop in-map scans from just destroying our ICS network that we've built. However, because none of this has ever been done before, and because you, the audience, have shown up and really done us a huge favor by showing up, and we really appreciate you sitting here, maybe you can find some cool vulnerabilities for us that we didn't even know existed, right? It's kind of why we brought this, you know? So by all means, please just torch this thing. Do your best. Do your worst. Try to get some free SCADA beer out of it. Do you have a coin on you? Did you bring a star coin? The sheriff's coin? I have 3. They're in my backpack. If you win, can you hand me back? That's right next to you. To your left, please. If you are able to pour yourself a beer, I'm duly authorized to deputize you, so to speak, with a rare limited edition 2016 Talos Challenge coin. We do not give these out to everybody. We barely give these out to people who work at Talos. So we can absolutely. What was that? That was awesome. Yeah. So if by some chance you can kick over our kegerator, if you can wirelessly pour yourself a beer, I'd be absolutely delighted to find out how you did it and give you one of these awesome little star coins we have, courtesy of Talos and Cisco. They actually have a neat little message written in binary on the side. There's some advanced Googling or a cool Python script can tell you what it actually says. But these are only the people who can figure it out. All right. So FYI. All right. That being said, this is the deets for what we are, and we can give you this out if you haven't written it down or you don't have a immediate memory. We have to give some major props to the folks at Binary Brewworks for giving us and donating one of the 1.6 homebrew kegs we have inside of our fridge. They went out of their way and did us a real solid. And we have much love and respect for those guys for being able to do that. Ronnie is actually doing his own makerspace in Washington D.C.
No.
What's going on? Chattanooga?
That's a big.
All right, excusez-moi. I apologize. So he's actually doing his own makerspace down in Chattanooga, and is looking for donations because it's going to serve, I think, a lot of underprivileged folks who can't do maker. You want to get up and talk about it? I'm going to give you the floor, man.
It's where we used to brew the beer.
Stand up, please, for the love of God.
Brewing the beer commercially sucks. It sounds like a cool idea, and everyone's doing it. It actually really sucks because then you have to sell it, and you have to market it, and you don't make any money. So we'd rather give it away and then just do something cool with the space. So that's where we're at.
Teaching our tradecraft to those who are in the next generation is absolutely the best thing in the world. And finding those curious minds and then growing them and empowering them to do amazing things. And InfoSec is like a passion of mine and anyone else who's in this industry, I think. So I really hope you guys can go to binarybrewworks.com, I believe, or a Google search of Binary Brewworks will take you immediately to them. You'll find them. And that would be totally awesome. Thank you again, Binary Brewworks. Much love and respect. Thank you for doing that. So that being said, I told you it'd be short and be sweet. I don't even know what time we're under. I wanted to give you guys more time to poke at it and hack at it and look at it. Not by too much, I think. So, wow. Oh yeah, absolutely I can. Absolutely, I apologize. Do this.
So it's a /24 now, /16.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Oh, my bad. Mubby. Sorry about that. We're getting probably kicked out of this room here quite shortly. Does anybody have any questions? I know I've gone through this pretty fast. This whole thing has been kind of a journey just to get here to this point. Yes, sir, in the very back. What kind of beer is it? Delicious and free.
One tap has Binary Brews TCP IPA, and the other tap is Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Yeah. We've sampled both because we did some thorough testing earlier. You know, you have to be very careful and meticulous about this stuff. And I have to say it was on point, both beers were quite delicious. If you want to pour yourself some while you're up here, we'd be happy to do that for you as well. But we have to give limited samples only because we really want to save some for the folks who work hard to get that beer poured for themselves as well. So, but it can totally be done. Totally be done. Any other questions? Sweet. Awesome. I love seeing that. Get to hacking. Get you some beer. And I think we're actually literally perfectly on time. Awesome. Thank you very much for showing up today, guys. We appreciate that. We're gonna try to roll this